Lesson 8, perimeter and area. So what do they mean by perimeter and area? As a review, perimeter is just the distance around a shape. So the formula that you would use is based off of what kind of shape you are finding the perimeter of. If it was a circle, it's pi times diameter. If it's a square or a rectangle, then it's just taking all the sides and adding up all the sides. Area is the measure of surface space of a shape. So here you would take your length and your times your width for rectangles and squares. So that's really what we're going to be working with today, mainly with rectangles and squares. So sample 1. A rectangular room is 5 yards long and 4 yards wide. How many feet of baseboard are needed to reach around the room? So right now the units are in yards, so we need to make it into feet. So there are a couple ways of doing that. We could find out what is the perimeter in yards and then convert it to feet, or you can change the dimensions into feet and then find the perimeter. I think for this one, we'll just find the perimeter in yards and then convert our answer to feet. So a rectangular room, perimeter of a rectangle would be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And since we have 5 by 4, we could say it's 2 times 5 plus 2 times 4, which will give us an answer of 18 yards. And we can convert that to feet. There are 3 feet in 1 yard. The lot yards label cancels out, so I'm left with 18 times 3, which would be 54 feet. How many square yards of carpet are needed to cover the floor? So now they're asking in square yards, so all I have to take is my length times my width, so it would be 5 times the 4, which would give me my 20 square yards. And in the picture down below, you can verify that I have a group of 4 here, group of 4 here, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So that will give me an area of 20. Describe whether the tasks in A and B are similar, defining perimeter or area. Well, in the first parts, we just found perimeter. And we found perimeter, we say perimeter because they're finding the distance. The baseboard is the part along the wall next to the floor. It wraps all the way around. So we're just finding the distance around the room. The second part, that's finding area. And that's area because we're covering the whole surface of the floor. And so to find that, you would just multiply all the way around, or you can count how many individual square tiles you have. And that was 20. Sample problem 2. The figure below shows the dimensions of room A and room B. Find the perimeter of each room in yards. So in perimeter for A, so I have 2 groups of 4 yards and I have 2 groups of 5 yards, which again gives me a perimeter of 18 yards. And for B, I have 2 groups of 10 yards plus 2 groups of 8 yards, so 20 plus 16 would give me 36 yards. Find the area of each room in square yards. So A, it would be 4 times 5 to give me 20 square yards. And for B, I take my length times my width, so 10 times 8 would give me 80 square yards. Next question, how does doubling the length and the width affect the perimeter? So let's just say, if we look at the example here, right here and here they doubled the length and the width. What happened to the perimeter? Well, in our first question up here, if the original was 18 yards and you doubled the length and width, the perimeter also doubled, because it's now 36. So 18 times 2 gives you your 36. So how does doubling the length and width affect the perimeter? It doubles the perimeter. And the next part, how does doubling the length and width affect the area? Well, if we look at the second part here, the box A, or rectangle A, was 20 square yards, and box B was 80 square yards. So doubling the length and width means that the area is 4 times bigger in the second one. So doubling the length and width affects the area 4 times. Example 3, find the perimeter and area of this figure. All angles are right angles, so the square corners. So what I would do first here is I would just cut these into 2 smaller pieces, so then I can find out what is the perimeter of the whole shape. So if I know that this whole piece is 10, and this piece right here is 6. This piece, V, this has to be 4, because 4 plus 6 will give me 10, and this side is 10. So I have 4. That means this part is going to be 4. Okay. So I have what my V is going to be. And now the bottom part here, this whole thing is 12. If this is 5, H has to equal 7, because 7 plus 5 would give me 12. So now if I find the perimeter, I can add up all my sides here. So I have, and if you notice, I can actually simplify this, right? Instead of adding up all the numbers here, I can just, since I have 12 on the top, because the 7 right here, plus this 5 gives me my 12. And then I got 12 down here, so that's 12 plus 12. And then on the side here, this is all 10, so plus 10. And then this 6 plus this 4 also gives me 10. So 12 plus 12 is 24, plus 10 is 34, plus another 10 is 44. So I have the perimeter equaling 44 centimeters. And now if we were to find the area of each section, here I have one box here. So this is 6 times 12, which gives me 72. And then up here I have 5 times 4, which gives me 20. So now if I add my answers together, I got 20 plus 72. That would give me an answer of 92 square centimeters. So area would be 92 square centimeters. Next practice problem. Third is placing baseboards in 1 foot square floor tiles in a 12 by 8 foot room. Ignoring doorways, how many feet of baseboard does he need? How many tiles does he need? So the first question is dealing with the baseboard. So that is our perimeter. So I need to find the perimeter. And perimeter is 2 times the length, so 2 times 12, plus 2 times the width, which is 8. So now I have 24 plus 16. Perimeter will equal 40. This would be 40 feet. And then the area, how many tiles? So area equals length times width. So I have 12 times 8. That gives me an answer of 96 square feet of tile. And the last question, find the perimeter and area of a room with these dimensions. So the perimeter. So again, just like we did a little bit earlier, this whole side is 13. That means this part plus this part has to equal 13. So now I have two groups of 13 plus, I know this side is 14. 11 plus 3 here has to be 14. So this has to be 3. So I have two groups of 14. If I add those together, I have 26 plus 28 to give me a perimeter of 54 feet. And then the area. Here I'm just going to extend this part right here. So now on top I have 11 times 13. And down here, if this is 11, that means this has to be 3. So 3 times 3. So let's do 13 times 11. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. 0 down. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. So now we have 143 plus our 3 times 3, which is 9. So add our 9. We get 152. So area would be 152 square feet. And one final problem. The Tour de France is a well-known cycling competition in which cyclists from around the world are chosen to participate. The tour's length varies from year to year, but is usually between 3,000 and 4,000 kilometers in length. If 1 mile is approximately 1.6 kilometers, approximately how long is the Tour de France in miles? So we need to have two answers. So if it's about 3,000 kilometers, how many miles would that be? I need to convert that to miles. So I have 1 mile is the same as about 1.6 kilometers. So now my kilometers can cancel out, and I end up with 3,000 divided by 1.6. So it's about 1,875 miles on the low end. And then if we take 4,000 kilometers over 1 times 1 mile over 1.6 kilometers, the labels cancel out, and I have 4,000 divided by 1.6, which gives me 2,500 miles. So that would give you roughly a good estimate of how long the Tour de France would be in miles.